calm down, folks. Just calm down.
Well, what did Carson say last night? Look at the smile on my face. You can tell right now how game two of the Western Conference Finals went. It's Barry and Carson from the Best Boys Center Ice podcast and the 2025 Stanley Cup playoff wrap up show for a Friday night game two of the Western Conference Finals. And before we get things going, Carr, we always like to say it's available on our YouTube channel, Best Boys Center Ice podcast on YouTube. Now I'm off work for a little bit, but I am going to go in tomorrow and I'll upload the last couple of night shows while I'm there. But you can get all of these shows on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast on YouTube, which is available on the Refocus Radio Network. Thanks to Shemaiah Reed. He's also got his I Am Refocused Radio podcast. You got to check that out and repost it. And then our buddy Rudy Campos Jr. would sweep the league, and I know he's knee deep in the conference finals of the NBA right now and Major League Baseball and a lot of other stuff going on. So check it out. It's the Refocus Radio Network, and we're also available just the audio portion. But hey, it's better to see that handsome face down there than it is listening to me. So yeah, don't dip away on Spreaker.com. So, Carr, we went into tonight's game between the Edmonton Oilers, Dallas Stars, after that humiliating, disappointing 5-goal give up in the third period by the Oilers to the Stars on the other night to let the Stars get the first game. We didn't know. I honestly didn't know what to expect. You asked me, who do you think is going to win game two? And I said, well, of course, I'm going to go with Edmonton, but I didn't have confidence in Stu Skinner. And his stat line for this playoff year is one of the most bizarre ever. The Oilers win, as you can see, 3-0. Stu Skinner has 3 wins this playoff year. All of them are shutouts, 2 against Vegas and 1 against Dallas. His losses, which are 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
1, 2, 4.
5.
No,
no, 4, because he lost games 1 and 2 in LA, and then game 3 against Vegas, and now game 1 against Dallas.
He's given up like more than 20 goals in those losses. But in the wins, when he decides to play like he's played in the past, he's got 3 shutouts now against 2 very good teams. That I'm baffled by that. He's got as many shutouts this playoffs as Bob does, and he looks so much like it was like they had a different guy in 74 last night that looked like Stu Skinner but wasn't Stu Skinner, because it was night and day between what we saw in game 1 and what we saw here. Now, the Oilers totally, like they did in the first 40 minutes the other night, they dominated this game. Dallas looked, I don't know if you agree, and you'll come out and have your best say. Dallas looked slow. They looked unprepared. I think they had such a high on the win the other night. They just looked like not the Dallas Stars. They just looked like an average team. And in this first 2 games, and you can, I heard it on Darren Pang, or I'm sorry, Ray Ferraro said in this, the Oilers are totally dominating the Stars 5-on-5. It was that power play that has killed the Oilers. But tonight, they do get 3, Dallas gets 3 power play chances and nothing on them.
Yeah. Okay. I can't really give... I don't know what to think about with Stuart Skinner. He decides that he wants to play bad one game and great the next game. That's not a good habit. Good for him that he won this game. Another shutout, but it's not a good habit to keep up. I mean, he's either letting in 6 or 7, or he's shutting him out. It's weird. I've never seen anything like it before. again, you know, people obviously complain that that he's getting a hard rap from the fans and stuff, but it's hard to be happy with it because it's not consistent. Because with one good game, he's going to give you one or two bad ones,
Hmm.
and it's just
Yeah.
about weathering the storm when that happens. I agree. Dallas looked kind of slow. They didn't look like they are getting dominated 5-on-5, but I'm not surprised the series is tied again after two games like it was last year. Both of these teams are very well good on the road and at
Hmm.
home. Uh, and I'm honestly, I'm not surprised as well, though, a sequence of it. The Dallas won the first game based upon the Oilers not being a good game one team, but as well, Dallas wanted to start it off strong. Uh, you know, great game for the Oilers. Again, power play goal from Nuge. Then they got two quick ones from Kulak and Brown in the second. But uh, I mean, again, this isn't anything to be concerned about from Dallas. They're tied. They just need to go back in Edmonton and figure out a 5-on-5 strategy. Whereas Oilers, happy you won this game, but you still got a lot to do. Go home and get it done, and make sure Stu is ready because it's weird how he's just looked so much different in these two games, and
Yeah.
even all playoffs that he's looked awful at times. He hasn't had an in between game where he's like, the stat line is he's either had a shutout or he has a save percentage worse than .834 in a game. That's it,
Right.
which isn't good at this time of the year. But good win for the Oilers. Again, they get back they get back on track, tie the series at 1. But the weird thing about this next game is that it's at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
2 p.m. on Sunday. So it's a travel day tomorrow for both teams, going from Dallas to Edmonton. That's quite the
That's a
trip.
far trip.
So no practice. There's going to be no time to practice on Sunday morning because it's going to be a 1 o'clock local time
They
start.
may get both teams
Maybe
may be at the rink early and get a quick skate, but I doubt
so.
it. I mean, this could
It's
be
so
weird.
I don't understand it because it's on ESPN, so it's not like it's an NBA takeover. It's just the weirdest thing having it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But that's where we sit with Game Three. It'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now I want to ask you about the Rope Hens incident with Darnell Nurse. I in the middle of moving into a new place, I had my game on my phone here and in the kitchen area, and I was kind of doing some stuff, and I heard the commotion going on, and I saw the replay of Darnell Nurse shouldn't have. That was a
That was
stupid
not
thing to
good.
do. That was not good. That was a stupid penalty to take. But now Rope Hintz, one of their top guys for Dallas, who knows, he may not be able to go in Game 3, especially with a short turnaround, a long day of traveling. He had to get help off the ice.
He
Uh,
couldn't
I
even put weight on it.
I'm going to say to Nursey, that was a stupid thing to do. That wasn't a hockey play. That wasn't even close to being a hockey play. You just don't do stuff like we've seen so many things happen. What was it? Was it last year in the playoffs? The captain of the Rangers.
Truba tried
Yeah,
elbowing.
you don't do this. So I don't know if the NHL will come down on him for this as
I
far as
think a fine.
discipline.
I think he'll get a fine for that. But what a
But it
dumb
was
play!
like
What a dumb play!
after seeing the highlights, I like Rope Hintz. I've always liked Rope Hintz. I thought he's an
He's
excellent
a
player.
very
And
good
now
player.
like that kind of
You
with Rant with Rantanen kind of cooling off a little bit since the series against Winnipeg, cooling off a little bit, and uh, um, some of the guys just don't look right.
but
Some of the big guys don't look right,
If you're the
and
Oilers, though,
that's a huge hit for Dallas if Rope Hintz can't play in Game 3 or Game 4.
you don't want to win the series like that. I'm
No,
sorry, but you don't want to win it that way. Totally bonehead move from Dar. He knew what he was doing there. He knew where he was hitting him. It
yeah,
wasn't like it was an accident. He knew he was getting him right there on the foot where there's nothing there. Hopefully, honestly, I hope Hintz is able to go. But if he's not, Dallas is going to be all over him.
mhm,
Somebody's going to go after him.
yeah,
Good. I mean, if they do good, I hope they honestly beat him in that fight because that's a bonehead play. You don't make that, um, and that this time of the year, you don't make that kind of play that takes a top player out from another team.
no,
And Dallas is going to be woken up by that. Obviously, they got a power play right after that, but the momentum's gone at that point. You're
yeah,
down 3-0. You've lost one of your best players. and that's a big loss. But this is going to be an interesting game three. Dallas is going to be PO that happened. They're going to want to take this game back and try to get home ice back, because should they win one of these games, they do have that advantage. Um, and yeah, I mean, that I imagine a fine comes out of that. I don't think suspension, but just I mean, that's not a play you reward as a coaching
No,
staff. That is not a
no,
play you reward. You're probably
that's
talking to him
not
and
a,
be like, dude, you got to
no,
be careful, because you do
that's,
something like that again, you're going to be removed from the game or something like that.
yeah. It's
And
not
he's
like
lucky
it's
he didn't catch a five. He's lucky he
yeah,
didn't catch a five for that, because I
yeah.
know they judge the act itself, not the result. That was awful. Like, that's not a play you make at any time this season. That's like
It's not like
that's
a,
like spearing somebody. That's the
yeah,
same kind of thing.
it's not like a good old you nail him into the boards because you're forechecking really hard.
No.
It's a
He
cleaner
had no
hit. Maybe the
reason to
guy
do that.
goes in awkwardly. Maybe it's injured. That's not that. This was just a deliberate. And Darnell Nurse is not shy, and he's not new to this kind of stuff. So that was an absolute terrible play. I don't know what he was thinking. There was no need for that at all. You could have gotten him out of the front of the net some
But
other way.
the puck wasn't even really going his way,
No,
because it was going the other
no.
side. It was going the other way.
So yeah, that's as an Oiler fan, I was disgusted by that. I'm always disgusted when you sit there and you go to intent to injure one of your guys, one of your brothers, because all these players are brothers. They're all in there playing the same game. They all have to respect each other. They all don't want to hurt each other. And then something like this happens, and yeah, it was just a
Brutal.
bad play all around. But the Oilers again win tonight, 3-0. Stu Skinner got himself a shutout. I don't have my stats in front of me. So how many saves did he make tonight? 25.
Yeah, he had 20 each team had 25 shots.
Yeah.
So Stu made 25 saves.
Okay, so now we move on to game three in Edmonton, as we said, Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock local and Mountain Time in Edmonton. Going to be interesting to see how Dallas comes out, and then interesting to see the crowd. I always love watching the Edmonton crowd in the playoffs, right from singing the national anthem to outside in the moss pit, and it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Now we move on to a game and a series, the Eastern Conference Finals, that will pick up tomorrow night from Sunrise, Florida, with the Florida Panthers leading this series pretty handily, 2-0. It's not like it's not
It hasn't
like
been close.
it hasn't been close, not even close to being close. It is a total domination by the Stanley Cup champions, and I'm just going to come out and say it. They're 2 games away from going back to the Stanley Cup final, because honestly, Carr, I do not see Carolina winning
Uh-uh.
any one of these 2 games in Florida.
No,
This is going to be a
I don't
sweep.
either. They've looked horrible. They've gotten
Yeah,
dominated the whole time. I feel like I'm like a broken record repeating the same thing, but the Carolina Hurricanes have to play their defensive hockey. And if they can't do that, they don't win. And
yeah,
this is what's going on right now. The Canes are so worried about defense that they don't shoot the puck, they don't get anything going offensively, and it's that they're getting buried right now. They're
yeah.
getting buried. The Panthers are all over them from puck drop to the end of the game. The Panthers are dominating them. They're forcing Carolina to play outside of their comfort zone, and the Canes can't adapt to that. This series, if Carolina can snap off a game, they'd be fortunate. They've been playing really bad. They're going on the road now, where Florida's comfortable. Florida wants to get this series done so they get some rest before ahead of the Cup final. Carolina, if they want to win, has got to, again, like I said, forget about the defense. Leave it alone. You know you have the defensive capability, but shoot it. Don't even worry about defense. Just shoot the puck.
Now, the only way Florida loses one of these 2 games in Florida is if it's a catastrophe. It's like a bad couple of bad bounces. It's
And
it's going to be
discipline.
it's going to
Discipline
be a
too. You don't want to
mistake.
take penalties.
It's going to be a mistake or undiscipline on Florida's part for Carolina to have a shot. But if Florida plays like they did in
I don't
Carolina,
see it happening.
I don't see it. That's the only way Carolina wins a game in this series is if Florida's would if they shoot themselves in the foot, and that's the only way, because Florida is just Yeah, you know what? Everybody's saying, well, when Florida got to the first Stanley Cup against Vegas, they looked terrible. You remember that series, right? We watched that
It was
series.
not a good series.
It was terrible. It was like went in 5 games, and it was like the worst 5 games ever. And then they come and they get back to the final against the Oilers. They have a 3-0 lead, almost blow it. So they're almost a bad part of history, but they hung on, and now they're proving that this team is for real. It's not just Tampa Bay in Florida now. It's Florida, and you have that great stat that how many of the last how many Stanley Cup finals featured a
Yeah,
Florida team?
if the Panthers make the finals again this year, it'll be the last 6 Eastern Conference champions have been from the state of Florida, which is they've become the state of hockey.
Yep.
Because they're
Yep.
winning. They're winning. They're putting winning teams together. So that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, I think it'll be Florida winning it, but you never know. I just still can't get over the fact that Sunday's game is at 2 o'clock, but it's going to be such an interesting test to see how that affects the game. I'm excited to see that unfold. But yeah, we have 2 different series at this point. Florida going back home ahead of Carolina already 2-0 in the series. They have a chance to go up 3-0 tomorrow for a primetime game in Sunrise. Like we talked about starting the show off, the Oilers came back to tie the series 1-1 thanks to a 25 save shutout from Stu. And they tied the series at 1 going back to Edmonton on Sunday. As always, we'll be back tomorrow, probably around 10 or 10:30,
Yeah.
pending overtime, of course, to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals, which I am excited to watch that game because I want to just pin hope that Carolina will show some kind of fight, but I don't see it happening.
No.
They've just been
Like show me something, but I
yeah,
don't think
they've
it's
just
gonna
been
happen.
outworked, outclassed, outplayed.
Yeah.
But you never know. That's what makes the sport so great is that you don't know what's going to happen. But we're here for it all till the last buzzer of the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals. But yeah, a great game tonight for the Oilers. Come back, tie the series up, and take advantage of a Dallas team that looks not as great 5-on-5 this series. But again, that's plenty of games
And
left.
the more Oilers keep winning and stretching the series, the more chances of Matthias Ekholm coming back and Calvin Pickard coming back. I think Ekholm skated today with the team, and I think they're thinking maybe the next game or two. So if the Oilers can keep stretching that and get Ekholm out there, that'll be a big help for them.
Yeah, but we'll see how this all
Right.
unfolds on tomorrow and Sunday. Anything else that you have before we begin to wrap it up?
No, I'm just excited in my new little studio here, new apartment. Very excited, and we'll be doing once I get my computer set up because I'm having to do this on the phone. But no, I'm just I said this 100 times when we started doing a podcast. This has been always a dream of mine was to do a podcast with my son because Carson. I've said it before. He's the best hockey analyst I've ever come across, and I've known some the TV guys. I've known some of the great radio guys from Edmonton. And you're
All right,
you're
ESPN, fly me out to Edmonton. You guys
yeah.
need me there for
Fly
game
me out
3.
there. Yeah, Carson is got it all in his head. Like I'm just always marveled by the fact that I have to have paper in front of me or something on a screen because I
For
don't
me,
have that. But he has almost every player, every team. He knows where they were. That he knows where they are. He's just great, and to be able to do this with my son is always been a dream of mine, and it's just great that we're able to do this. And now this podcast had just evolved like we wanted it to, and it'll keep evolving. And
yep.
Carson does a great job with the intro. He loves that intro of me going, "Just calm down, just calm down."
Oh yeah, all
Yeah,
day.
so thanks, Car, for all that.
Yep.
And we're gonna just kind of wrap things up tonight. And in the meantime, and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night.